history. And can I ask my guests to come on down so they can tell you a little bit about themselves? All right. Amen. All right. So before we begin, we want to start with our father and founding father of the AME Church, Mr. Richard Allen. And you also have this in your program. He was born on February 14th, 1760 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was an extraordinary African-American clergyman, educator, and writer. His life's journey left an indelible mark on American religious history. He had early life and conversion. He was born to enslaved parents and endured the harsh realities of slavery. At the tender age of 17, he experienced a profound religious conversion and embraced Methodism. So that reminds us too that you're never too old or young, to do anything. And we do have to be open to our youth. Richard Allen was 17 when he embraced Methodism. By the time he was 22, he was granted permission to preach. In 1786, he purchased his freedom, and relocated to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He then joined St. George's Methodist Episcopal Church, where he occasionally preached to the congregation. Now, he was dissatisfied with restrictions on prayer meeting for Black congregants. Allen withdrew in 1787. He transformed an old blacksmith shop onto the first church for Black faithful in the United States. That's why we always have our anvil. You see that because it represents that blacksmith shop. His followers became known as Allenites. And in 1799, Richard Allen achieved a significant milestone by becoming the first officially ordained African-American minister in the Methodist Episcopal Church. That was very, very key when African-Americans were not able to worship with their fellow brothers and sisters of other races. Now, the Bethel Society, organized by Allen, paved the way for the establishment of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in 1816. And Allen was then elected as the church's first bishop. And we know behind every great man, there's a great woman. And might I add that his wife, Sarah Allen, started the Daughters of the Conference to assist the male ministers, okay? And they're both now very next to each other. His legacy endures as a beacon of resilience, faith, and empowerment for generations to come. Now, we have our guests that will also tell you a bit about themselves.
Go down Moses' way, down in Egypt land, tell, O Pharaoh, to let my people go. On December 6, 1849, I escaped from slavery. I told my people that if you hear the dogs keep going, if you see the torches and the woods keep going, if there's shouting after you, keep going. Don't ever stop, keep going. If you want a taste of freedom, keep going. I told their masters to be out. I will be the first woman to ever be the face of American currency. Who am I?
Who is she, church? All right.
You must never be fearful about what you will do. On December 1st, 1955, I refused to give up my seat on the bus in Montgomery, Alabama, sparked the American Civil Rights Movement. My act of defiance and boycott became important symbols of the movement. The United States Congress honored me as the First Lady of the and the mother of freedom. Who am I?
Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. I have a dream on August 28th, 1963. I delivered my landmark speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. I became the youngest man ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize and later donated the prize money of $54,123 to furthering the civil rights movement. I then went on to lead thousands of people on a 54-mile march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, to fight for freedom. Who am I?
Yeah,
If they don't give you a seat at the table, then bring a folding chair. On November 5th, 1968, I became the first Black woman elected to the United States Congress. I want history to remember me. Not that I was the first Black woman to be elected in Congress, not as the first Black woman to have made a bid for the presidency of the United States, but as a Black woman who lived in the 20th century who dared to be herself. I want to be remembered as a catalyst for change in America. Who am I?
Supporting our youth. We do have two of our participants that are in Memphis. We'll say that they're supporting civil rights activities right now, but we do continue to pray for baby Braden and his family. Amen. Amen. And you know what, church, without our youth, the church is going to perish, right? So thank you all.
Amen. Thanks to all of you. Just what I told you to say, without our youth, the church will perish. That's one of the reasons I always say that the church is in Christ. In a convocation with the AME church that was held in 2019 in Atlanta, we determined that the average age of the AME membership was 67 years old. 67. Church is under Christ.